Welcome, everybody. Thank you for having me here today at Walsh. We are going to talk about the CPA exam, what it looks like today, more importantly, what it's transitioning to in 2024. I will give you all just a quick minute to log in and get settled in. While we're doing that, I do want to let everyone know that I will be sending out an email to those folks that have registered for the presentation today with the various websites, resources, and additional information available for you just to keep everything in one place so that you're not jotting things down and frantically writing down, because I do go through the information pretty quickly. Please know if you have questions anytime during the presentation, please feel free to take yourself off mute, put it in the chat. I do have folks that are looking at the chat and will be interrupting, not even interrupting me, but will be passing on those questions to me. Again, at any time, please feel free to raise a hand and or just jump in with a question. This presentation is for you. So for those folks that are thinking about taking the CPA exam, maybe you've taken a portion of it already, or curious to see what it'll look like in 2024, you are in the right place. We're going to go ahead and get started with Michigan-specific information for application for the CPA exam, credits needed, and moving forward through that. If you all have questions about different states for maybe licensure or what is needed, I can help you with that. If I don't know, I will provide the resources or the person who works within that state on a daily basis to give you that information that they work with daily. So for instance, if you're interested in obtaining licensure in California or Florida or any other state that's not Michigan, please let me know that information and then I can forward you on to the person who has more information about that state. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the steps to become a CPA. So this is going to be the same whether or not you're taking the exam or any portion of it this year or next year. So becoming a CPA, your step number one is going to be to meet the educational requirements. So in the state of Michigan, our educational requirements are 120 credit hours in order to start sitting for your CPA exam. You still need 150 for your licensure, but you can start sitting at 120, which is a very big gift for you all. You're still in college, you're still used to test taking, you're kind of in that cadence of doing that. So use that to your advantage. The longer you wait, the more things are going to start piling up on your plate. So kind of know that too. With that being said, you can start sitting at 120 credit hours. You can also start sitting 60 days before you complete your 120. It does require a letter from your registrar's office through NASBA that says, hey, you're enrolled in this class, you're going to probably pass, start sitting. So use that again when you're starting to plan for your CPA and taking it that way. There are additional accounting, government, business classes involved in that, and we can drill it down to that a little bit more if you'd like at another time. Step number two, you're going to apply to take the CPA exam. In the state of Michigan, you would do that through NASBA's website. So submitting your application, you're going to submit your application, you're going to reach out to your registrar's office and have them send transcripts from every single school and or university you've attended. Needs to come directly from the school or university to NASBA. It cannot be submitted from you. Why is that? That's so that you don't have your neighbor take your CPA exam for you. They want to make sure that it is indeed you. When you're going through to apply for your CPA exam, if your name is Caitlin, but you go by Katie, please use Caitlin. Your name on your application has to match the name on your identification. If not, you will not be able to take the CPA exam. They have a refund policy and it's a donation. So you will not receive that information or that money back. So be very specific. You all are probably accounting majors. You're very used to detail. So just use that one. Your name has to match what's on your ID. Step number three. You're going to study for the exam, right? We hope that you choose Becker. However, everybody learns differently. So we all have a 2-week trial free, come and test our software kind of thing. I recommend that you go through all of them and check them all out and pick the one in which applies to you. Again, everyone learns differently, so know that too. You're going to create a study plan. So within Becker's software, and I can't speak to the others, but we do have a handy tool that's called the study planner. You will go in and choose what exam you want to take first, when you want to take it, and how many hours you have to devote to taking that. It will then spit out a calendar that you can kind of move around if you'd like. So if you have a vacation planned or something like that, you can move things around and study more one week, have your vacation, then make up extra time, and kind of make sure that you're following according and staying on schedule. You can also print that out. So put it on your mirror, put it on your refrigerator, just anything to keep it top of mind and to keep you on schedule. Step number 4, you're going to schedule your exam. So you're going to receive your notice to schedule, notice to sit, NTS, whatever it is you'd like to call it, via email. Go ahead and print that out. That is going to have your 7-digit code that you need to input once you go and take your CPA exam. That is unique to you, so you'll need to have that. You're going to schedule your exam with Prometric. So Prometric is an off-site testing center, and that's all they do is professional testing. So there might be real estate folks in there with you taking a professional exam, medical field folks taking a medical field exam. So know that they just do professional testing only. I bring this up because when you go through Prometric and sit down, if, let's say, the person that walked in behind you leaves after an hour, they're probably not there for the CPA exam, right? So just know that there's other testing going on just beyond taking the CPA exam. Few things to know about Prometric. When you schedule your exam, let's say you're a morning person, so you're going to schedule it for 8:30 on a Tuesday morning. You want to get there about a half an hour before your time. So plan on arriving in the parking lot of the Prometric Testing Center at 8 a.m. You can find Prometric testing centers anywhere in the United States, including the 5 different territories. We can take the CPA exam in any of the states, including the territories. So know that too. If you want to take the CPA exam or one portion of it in Florida, you can do that. Just go ahead and find a Prometric testing center in Florida you want to take it at. You do have to provide 2 different forms of identification, again, making sure that your name on your identification and your notice schedule match up perfectly. They also might take your fingerprints. They might do a wand wave. It's kind of like a TSA-like environment. When you walk in, you are not allowed a phone, a watch, anything in a bag, a purse, or no belongings are allowed to come in with you. They will provide you a locker for those things. So just know that as well. So when you are going through your review and taking your simulated exams, you're not allowed snacks, you're not allowed water. So keep that in mind as well to kind of condition your body as well as your mind to do that. There are folks at Prometric that are there to help you with anything, if anything technically goes wonky. So if you lose your internet connectivity or something's wrong with your mouse, they can help you out with that. Unfortunately, they're not going to help you out with any questions relating to the content of the exam, but they are to support you there in other ways. More things about Prometric. So do a test drive to the testing center that you choose. Know your traffic patterns, know if there's construction going on. There's a lot of construction around where I live right now, and I know that does create extra time to get there. So do a test drive about a week before, kind of know what it is, know how long it's going to take to get there. And then again, allowing for those TSA-like conditions in order to get in. We'll talk about more Prometric and more of the testing as we move along through the presentation. Step number 5, you're going to succeed, right? You're going to take the CPA exam, all 4 parts. In Michigan, we have the ethics exam. There's one of them, it's open book. It's a very important part of what you do, but please don't stress about it. You're going to obtain your work experience. In Michigan, you need 2,000 hours and or 1 year of full-time work to apply for your licensure. So this is after you pass all 4 parts of your CPA exam. and then go apply for your licensure, you would do that through the LARA website, LARA.org. Any internship that you do will go towards that 2,000 hours, so know that as well. And I will move forward. Are there any questions right now as we take a break? Okay, I'll move forward. All right, exam facts. So this is assuming we are moving now into 2024. So for those folks who we were saying, you know, take BEC, knock BEC out in 2023, the cutoff deadline to apply to take BEC has come and gone. So that's no longer available. If you are retaking BEC, you can still do that. It is still available. BEC is available until December 15th of 2023. But that being said, if we move forward, we're going to have 4 exams: financial, audit, reg, BEC for now, or discipline in 2024 and beyond. But the facts on the left-hand side and the exam directions still apply 2023, 2024 regardless. So we know we have 4 exams, they're each 4 hours. You need a passing score of 75. So it's not a 75 percentage, it's on a scale. So think about our multiple choice questions. They're more memorization, less application. Our task-based simulations, less memorization, more application. The questions that require application are going to have a heavier weight associated with them than a multiple choice question. It just kind of makes sense, right? So know that when you're thinking about how the scoring works, they're just weighted with different points based on really how difficult they are to get correct. Like I said before, the exam can be taken in any state or jurisdiction. Moving forward, it says 30 months. We used to have 18. So moving forward, the trajectory that we see, and it's on a state-by-state basis, this is in process of being approved as law in the state of Michigan right now, so I do think it's going to happen, that in 2024, you will receive 30 months to complete all 4 parts of your CPA versus only 18. Another thing to be aware of, that 30 months will now start when you receive your score from your first exam. As of now, that 18-month period starts counting down when you sit for your exam. So there's a little bit of all these changes that we're going to talk about moving forward are really beneficial for new candidates. They've taken a lot of information from different folks and have made changes accordingly, and all the changes are pretty much in your favor. So it's really cool. Again, that is still going on. It's active legislation. It's still different for each state. So if you have questions regarding that, please let me know. I'll let you know. The most current information we have, it can also be found on NASBA's website. So if we look at things that maybe aren't going to change, the exam direction or how we look at each exam. So within each exam, you're going to have 5 testlets. So the first 2 are going to be your multiple choice questions or MCQs, and then the last 3 testlets are going to be your task-based simulations. Within each multiple choice question, those testlets number 1 and 2, you're going to get around 30-ish multiple choice questions on each of those testlets. Some tips here for time management. Again, remember going back when you're sitting, let's say you're sitting for FAR and we have 4 hours to complete that exam. Without a clock or a cell phone in the room, how are you going to keep track of time? So when you're in the exam, you're going to get a 4-hour basically countdown that's always going to be present in the upper left-hand corner. We'll take a look to see what that looks like. But for time management, if we know each multiple choice question is about to take probably like maybe 1 to 2 minutes tops, and I have 30 in testlet number 1, I know by the time my clock counts down from 4 hours to maybe 3.5 or 3:25, I should be submitting that testlet in and moving on to testlet number 2, just to make sure I have enough time for my task-based simulations that I know are going to take between 15 or 20 minutes a piece per question. So they're going to take a little bit longer, which is why we want you to practice your multiple choice questions often and a lot, so you get very efficient and effective at answering them to create more time for your task-based simulations. When you submit a testlet in and click yes, submit, you can no longer go back to that testlet, but do know it will flag you if there are questions that are left unanswered. If you have unanswered questions, please go ahead and answer them. You're not going to get any points taken away for incorrect answers. You just won't get any points. So go ahead and make your best guesstimate. Maybe you'll get additional points and then move forward. Between each testlet, you can take a break, but that break is going to count against your 4 hours. So the only off the clock break is between testlet 3 and 4, meaning that that 4 hours will stop. You can get up and go to the restroom, a drink of water or whatever, a snack, and then come back. But do note that when you come back into the Prometric Testing Center, with that 15 minutes, it does include that TSA, like they're going to see your ID again. They're going to probably wand you again just to make sure. So I have some students that have said if they're rocking and rolling through the CPA exam, they don't even take the break. They just kind of go right through. So that's up to you as well. Some folks just stay in their seat and like stare at a wall or away from a computer screen and kind of let your eyes and mind just rest for a bit and then jump back on it. So it's just whatever you're kind of feeling and how you've set yourself up for it. So if taking the simulated exams, you took the break, go ahead and take the break. So it's kind of up to you how you'd like to work that. So these are the 2024 CPA evolution strategy. So this is as of September 7th. This is us going forward to the 30-month rule that we had talked about before. So you can see Michigan has voted. There's some states that have it implemented. There's some that don't have the rule yet. So it is on a state-to-state basis. It is updated quite frequently. It's on the AICPA's website and NASBA's website also. So just kind of to give you guys an idea about how things are kind of moving through legislation, or if they are, or if they've started. A lot of times the groups that kind of push these issues through meet only once a month and their agenda gets jam-packed. So then this gets kind of extended on. So know that kind of too. There's a lot of wheels turning in the background of this. So the credit extension policy, different from what we talked about before. So these are for you folks who have taken and passed an exam that is still quote unquote good January 1st of 2024. So if we took FAR in, let's say even 15 months ago, and let's say in month number 16, January 1st, 2024, your FAR exam is still good. That credit will be extended another 18 months to June 30th of 2025 to allow you time for the transitions and things moving forward. So this is really nice too for those of you all who are bridging that gap between 2023 and 2024 to continue on your journey to becoming a CPA and not have those portions of your test fall off. And it is discouraging to have that happen. So this is in place for you, so know that as well. So those of you who are maybe still sitting for BEC coming up, or those of you who have credits previously, they will be good and extended until the end of June in 2025. And you can see that's been all passed by all states beginning of September. So taking a look now to see what the actual exam, CPA exam looks like. So this is pulled from one of Becker's simulated exams. We have 2 at the end of every single section that you'll take. We recommend that you sit for both of them in test-like conditions. But what I want to draw your attention to is the color, format, feel of this simulated exam is going to be exactly what you walk into when you go to Prometric. So the idea behind this and moving forward, a lot more of our question banks and task-based simulations are going to be set up this way so that visually you've seen this stuff before. You walked in the CPA exam, you're like, yeah, this isn't so bad. I've seen it. So it's just to remove that extra layer of newness to help you feel very confident, very comfortable taking the CPA exam when you go ahead and sit. If you look at the upper left-hand corner, this is what I was talking about, your time management. So this clock will start at 4 and count back. So 4 hours to 3 minutes, 59 seconds, and so on and so forth. So if we're looking at our testlet here, multiple choice questions, we see we have around a 30, right? So they are going to give you, they meaning the Prometric Testing Center, will give you a scrap piece of paper with a pencil to write down your time schedule. So if I see this and I'm sitting and I'm just starting, I know, make a little note at 3:30, 3:25, I should be done with this testlet. So then I can then move forward. If you see, you can flag the ones that are maybe more difficult and go back to them. And the other thing I want to point out too is the call of the question is usually right underneath. So if you see that grayed out box with all the information you're going to need to solve the question, the call of the question is going to be underneath. Read that first. That way, when you're reading through the information that's given to you, you can pick out the information that's going to help you solve the problem. It just helps you with your time management and to solve these as quickly as possible while still getting the correct answer. If we look at a task-based simulation, in addition, so all of the things on the top, the calculator, Excel will be called something different. I think it's a Google product moving forward, but the functionality will be the same. All of those things will be available for you. You can also request from Prometric a physical calculator if you're used to using that. However, I now know a lot of candidates will use the Excel like workbook just so you can see your work and keep track of it. But again, it's up to you, however you feel comfortable doing it. But within these task-based simulations, you'll see the boxes at the bottom. That's where you'll input your answer. And you're also provided with probably more information than you need to help solve this. So again, that's where your review materials and reviewing this and how to solve task-based simulations and multiple choice questions really going to be very helpful to train your brain and how to solve them. So what's coming in 2024? I like to use this as a time to explain like why is the test changing? We're humans, we don't like change usually. So what the AI CPA does on a regular basis. So the exam is constantly changing. It's a living and breathing document. So there's questions that have been thrown out, questions that have been added, wording that's been updated, things that have been changed just to make sure it is always refined. But they always keep an eye on kind of what your career is looking like now for a new hire. And kind of what you're exposed to in school. So to make those match up evenly or like a little bit better, the exam has changed. So what you're expected to do as a new hire now is a lot different than what was expected 7 or 8 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago, the tasks that you would have been in charge of are now automated. So you're expected to hit the ground running at a higher level. So the exam is there to bring you up to speed to kind of bridge that gap. And again, it's just to make it a little bit easier to transfer from your college career to your CPA career. So that's why it's changing. We are going to see a lot more data analytics, blockchain, IT, Excel, all those good things. So that's the reason why the huge upheaval. This is the biggest change since we went from pen and paper to online. So I just want to let you all know that too. So what's changing? So audit, FAR, and reg are being tweaked and updated. Audit's we'll go through these a little bit more, but what's changing the most is BEC is going away. And going away is kind of a sneaky term because it's not all going away. There's still really good content that's in there. It's just being moved around a bit. In place of BEC, for those folks that are starting to test in 2024, it's the first time that you've ever been able to tailor the CPA exam to yourself. So that's never been done before. You are allowed to choose one of 3 disciplines. They're business analysis and reporting, information systems and controls, which would be your IT one, your tax compliance and planning, which would be your tax one. And we'll move forward and take a look at each of these in depth. So what's happening? Audits pretty much audit. The test in 2023 is very similar to the test in 2024. Some tweaks, some modifications, some updating, but for the most part, pretty much the same. You're gonna have you're gonna have 6 units of review with us, equaling about 80 to 100 study. So a way to kind of think about is if you have 15 to 20 hours study, you can kind of then really make your calendar. I start, oh, then I can sit for it here. That's also available within our, but just for you all that are thinking about it now, it's a good way to think. And then you'll also be able to see the multiple choice questions that are within audit and also your task-based simulation. So this is for 2024. Your multiple questions for the whole test is 7. Your task-based simulations are going to be 7. So you can kind of see evaluation, analysis, application, remembering and understanding, just to give you an idea about the content, what's what. Far are where we are going to see the most significant changes of the exam. AI CPA, or the folks actually write the exam, did is they took the core content bar and that out from those really high application, more difficult questions are then funneled to the bar discipline. So FAR moving in 2024 is going to have significantly less than 2023. Same thing is happening with REG. Oh, let's look at FAR a little bit some more too. So to give you guys an idea of how much this exam is, as of now, FAR expected study time is around 160 hours. This is moving forward in 2024. You'll notice in 2024, all of the core exams are going to be around 80 to 100 hours of content or review material, kind of same thing there. So that gives you an idea of the changes that are happening with FAR. Same thing is going to happen with REG. So again, those top level questions are going to be diverted to tax compliance and planning with a intermediate understanding of the other topics are still going to be housed within the core. And then looking at BEC, again, we said BEC, I said BEC went away, but it didn't really, it just kind of snuck into other places. So where it made sense, BEC questions will still apply. They just kind of funneled it wherever it made sense to house it. So it's still good information for you all to know. It just kind of moved around a little bit. So we'll take a look at the bar discipline. So these are those new disciplines that are going to take the place of your BEC exam. You choose one of them. So if we take a look at business analysis and reporting, we'll look at the hours again, kind of similar to what we saw before with 100 to 120 or hours of review. This is going to be the exam we think that most students or candidates are going to pick. I will draw your attention to the hours of study time recommended. This is going to have the most hours of study time, but do note this is information that you've probably been exposed to repeatedly. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your discipline. And again, some other things that we can look at when we're thinking of the bar or business analysis and reporting, the discipline choice. Different things in here, data analytics, financial risk and planning, technical accounting, and then, you know, other things that job opportunities that come with this. These are just suggestions. So regardless of what discipline you choose, you're still going to have those CPA letters at the end of your name. It's not going to say like CPA and then parentheses bar. So pick the one that's speaking to you now. It won't pigeonhole you. It's not going to make you stay in a profession for a long period of time if you don't want. It's just, whichever one that you're feeling the best about, go ahead and take that discipline. If we look at information systems and controls, again, to contrast what the bar analysis was, this is around 60 to 80 hours of review. So less content, but it might not be information you've seen a lot. So for my IT folks out there, this is where you're going to go. It's going to have a lot of the information housed within it, and we can see on the upper left-hand corner, you'll see all of those that are the topics that are there, and just some information that you would want to do or kind of drawn towards if you're looking at information systems and controls. Tax compliance and planning. So I have found in my experience that candidates either are tax or they are not. So if tax person, this is where you're going to want to live. If not, this is not where you want to. Just to give you some information about that one. And then, ideas about what you can do, or maybe if you're kind of drawn to this maybe you want to live in the tax discipline. So order in which we can take them. So this order is up so that what really builds upon each other to make it easier to transition from test to test. So notice in 2024 going forward, we start with, gives you a very, very good baseline for moving forward and those topics that are housed far. And then based on what discipline that you want to take, you'll see the recommended order in which to take it. So if we notice to bring out the middle one, FAR, if we're going to take reg, then we might want to take FAR, reg, then audit, then information systems and controls, because you're building on the information each one, if that makes sense. I will send this out in addition to everything else I'm emailing you all, just so you have it. It's a really good guideline. It's stone. So I did have a candidate who is going to sit for audit first. You know why? Because he's taking audit in the spring. So it just makes sense that while he's taking the class, he's studying for the exam, kind of building upon it that way, and then he's going to take FAR. So you can still, you don't have to take it in this order. This is just a suggestion. And then we have some transition dates, some in which have already come and gone. So let's start with November 22nd. So that's when NASBO will start processing applications for the new disciplines. And then December 15th is the last day for testing for any of the exams. That is going from December 15th to January 10th. So unfortunately, if you were planning on taking a portion of the exam over like a holiday break, that won't be available for you this year. So starting January 10th, we will start again. There are going to be blackout dates for each quarter for the core exams. Disciplines are only going to be offered for a month of each calendar quarter. And then I do have that on an actual visual calendar with my next slide that we'll take a look at. But what I want to draw your attention to now are the release dates for 2024. So if we sit for FAR on January 10th of 2024, the first day we can start testing again, do not expect to see your exam results until June 4th. Why is that? So we have a new exam, right? We want to make sure that you're being graded accordingly. Couple of questions normally come up around this time. So if you sit for FAR on January 10th and you walk out, you feel terrible, you just know that you've maybe not passed it, you cannot apply to take the same exam until you receive your score. So the recommendation here is to just move on and to start studying for a different portion of the CPA exam. There are so many folks who walk out thinking that they didn't pass it and they did awesome. So know that, or you can also manipulate this if you wanted to take it maybe in March, and that way you're not waiting so long to get your results back. It's up to you, but it is taking a long time just to make sure that you are graded on a really, really fair schedule, or a very fair scale. I should not scale, but you're graded fairly. It is a new exam. It's done by humans, so there will be probably some issues within the questions. Maybe some questions get thrown out, and that happens all the time. So this is nothing new. Just your exam scores are going to take a little bit longer to get, which is exactly why you're going to get another 30 months to take, you get an extension on your credits that you already have for 18 months, and then you'll have longer to complete the rest of them. Hopefully, again, if you look at these, they're all going to say tentative. So hopefully they'll be released at least a little longer or earlier, but for now, this is kind of how you should be planning. And then if we take a look at the actual exam calendar, where you see the lavender is when you're able to take the disciplines. And then if you notice, you're also able to test on Saturdays. So Prometric is open on Saturday, which is nice. And then the gray is when you won't be able to take the core exams. So nothing really groundbreaking or anything like that, just things that you need to be aware of, things that will help you when you're planning to take the exam. So for Walsh college students, there is a discount in place for both the CPA and CMA review. I will send you all this link as well. It'll take you directly to your landing site for Walsh students. So if you are wanting to get your materials now, get them early, the CPA review materials that we have on discount for you are unlimited, meaning you will have them even if you want to dig in there before you're ready to study. You can do that. You can go ahead and purchase them. Do not redeem your textbooks until you're able to sit for the exam, just because they're going to change a lot and you can only redeem one textbook. If it does update, then you'll be required to purchase a new one. So any questions so far? Anything else? If anyone wants to come off mute, feel free. All right, I'll go forward. Here's my information. So if you all have questions regarding anything that we talked about today, anything about licensure in other states or things like that, please feel free to call or email or text me, whichever is easiest for you. When you're going through this process, give yourself grace. It is intense, totally worth it, but do take a moment. Burnout is a real thing. If you all are reading through something and we've all done it, where you have no idea what it was that you just read, please stop, take a break, take a day off, do something, like recalibrate, so that you're able to really digest the information and carry it with you to go ahead and pass your CPA exam.